is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone.
It's been 2 years since that viral line from Nigeria's then brand new president, Bola Tinubu.
When Mr. President made that announcement in his inaugural speech, everybody thought the heavens would fall, and everybody thought that it was going to cause so much commotion. But today, analysts have come together to look at it that, yeah, there were pains, but then the gains are beginning to show now.
One pronouncement that will immediately alter the people's socioeconomic conditions, and it did. Cost of living hit the roof, so did that of doing business. Reactions and responses were in different forms. Trust the people of the president's home state in Lagos. If others had been lamenting in silence, they made it openly clear to the man himself while visiting home that they were angry. And even at every other opportunity, they had to talk to the cameras. The argument for the daring policy has been that Nigeria could no longer sustain the fraud called subsidy, while some countered it, saying it wasn't well thought out.
Coming up on this administration, the fuel subsidy was taking billions of dollars, and that was not really providing the succor to Nigerians as it should have.
But then, remedial steps or interventions were taken, with the national and state governments taking measures to ameliorate the effects. It's been 2 years since that pronouncement, and the lamentation hasn't stopped across Nigeria, including here in the southwest.
People are complaining. The insecurity, the economic policy is so harsh on this government that nothing to write home about. Nobody is enjoying this government.
It was really disheartening to come to terms with the reality of the fact that 2 years down the line, after the president had actually made the announcement of that fuel subsidy removal, that we are still in this limbo, and unfortunately, the talks of 2027 is already taking the center stage.
The removal of petrol subsidy comes with its positives anyway. They include making more revenue either to disperse for it available for other things.
Very clear improvements in the total amount of federal account allocations, in particular to the subnationals.
Since 2023, it is on record that the subnationals have got between 2 to 3 trillion naira more in the later part of 2023 and the entire 2024 fiscal year.
There is no state in the southwest that received less than 90 billion in federal account allocations in the 2024 fiscal year. Of course, Lagos earned 3-4 times that amount, but no state earned less than 90 billion. And when you look at their IGR performance, which is where states and even the federal government should focus on, you see a very different story. Only Lagos and Ogun are states that are doing very well in terms of IGR growth. The Ondos, the Oshuns, the Oyos are barely doing above 60, 70, billion in their IGR, and this is not very different from what they were doing, and I mean this for 2024 fiscal year. This is not different from what they were doing in 2023 and 2022.
So, how has the more revenue available been managed by the subnationals in the southwest?
Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, the governor, announced that the workers who got a wage awards from the federal government, that Lagos State government should immediately. So Lagos became the first state to implement the wage awards, 35,000 naira. And apart from that, he now said in all our hospitals, women, expectant women, will go in there and pay not even a dime to have their babies, and that nobody should collect any money from such people, whether it's a normal delivery or it's a cesarean section, you do not need to pay. And after that, when the subsidy removal was eventually implemented, Lagos State government under Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu now said there should be 50% reduction in transportation fares. We even extended it to by 25% to the public transportation systems that are being run by the private sector.
Ideally, with the impact of the fuel subsidy removal on cost of transportation, one expected that the subnationals should have invested significantly in transportation. In other words, they should have invested in a lot of these mass transit buses. Some of them have done a bit of it, but I believe they could have done a lot more.
Lagos, for instance, came up with the policy of reduction in the cost of public transportation. About 65%, something?
Yeah, about 50%. They did that. Yeah, they did that.
How about that?
No, that was good. But the point is that the number, because when you look at the population of Lagos, for instance, vis-a-vis the number of those buses that are available, we cannot say that it is adequate.
Other states in the zone equally made some interventions to mitigate the hardship, but the question has been whether the social investments by the states are commensurate with the funds available.
If you talk to the ordinary citizens, part of the biggest challenges they have been facing is the cost of food, affordability of food. And when it comes to agriculture, it is primarily or mainly the responsibility of the subnationals. Because the subnationals are in charge of the land. They are closer to the farmers, they are closer to the rural communities where farming activities are taking place. In some other states, I think we have seen some impact, particularly, at least I can talk of Oyo State, for instance. There has been some significant impact in terms of trying to improve agricultural productivity. But this has not happened in many of the states.
In the last 2 years, I believe the governor should have done more to complement the interest of the citizens. Because, for example, in Osun, I remember during the previous administration, the allocation coming to Osun was less than 5 billion naira a month. But presently, if I'm not mistaken, Osun is getting over 10 billion naira, which I think should be used for things to cushion this effect and this hardship in the states. So I believe governors should also do more to comprehend the efforts of the president.
High youth unemployment, insecurity, especially in places like Ondo and Ogun states, add to the challenges that the people have to contend with daily.
I must also acknowledge what the Southwest has done around security. We have this Amotekun which they have put in place, and it has had some impact. And many of them have also been supporting the police command, especially in the area of logistics. You know, Lagos State is a shining example of the support that is being given to the police.
From Lagos to Oyo, Ekiti to Osun, and indeed across the zone, there appears a general dissatisfaction with the investment of the governors in real human capital development, though some think otherwise.
If you want to assess this government, maybe it is only the governors who can probably assess President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and ask me why, that can actually rate him high. And this is because he is sharing this money among the governors. And these governors are practically doing nothing in their states. And that's why almost all of them now, they are turning to Alumajeris, following him, the campaign.
It has been very, very poor. Taking a look at the state of things in Oyo State, we've experienced nothing than social media hype. That's the flow is riding on currently, and we are not new to it. And taking a look at, if you are to score a government in power, we look at the educational sector. You know, what is the state of our schools in Oyo State today?
Administration has improved the state in the area of agriculture and road construction. The number of roads he has constructed in the state are countless and numerous, including flyovers, one at Okefia, another at Ile-Ife ongoing. We can see and say that Governor Ademola Adeleke is working.
Many of them have not actually, developed or created the kind of linkages that should exist between their rural communities and the state capital. Because it is in these rural communities that you have, all this agriculture. And in any case, when we even talk about cash crops, Southwest is noted for cocoa, kola nuts, quite a number of cash crops that used to be, for which Southwest was reputed, Not much of that is happening.
You have twin problems of exchange rate management and inflation. Now, when you combine that with an inclination of state governments to focus on infrastructure projects, now we're getting into the politics, because it's easier to boast and show your people that you are working as a governor when you can show them a strip of road.
There are some structural issues that have slowed real progress in governance and the efforts to improve the socioeconomic conditions of the generality of the people. They include politics of self with little consideration for the general interest.
My status in the House, I believe strongly I'm still the Speaker. I leave this position as the Right Honourable Speaker of this House.
Inability of local government to function properly and independently, as well as over-centralization of power in the executive with a pliant legislature which promotes the culture of lack of accountability in governance, among others.
You will ask yourself, how many states in Nigeria or in the Southwest have development plans that they abide by? How many of those states have development plans that are linked to budgetary spending? So if you look at the quality of budget implementation, for instance, for 2024, I think the state with the best performance is Ekiti. They performed around 87% implementation. That's the budget compared to actual spending. The second runner-up was Lagos. The third runner-up was Ogun or Oyo, if I'm not mistaken. But no state in the Southwest performed less than 65% implementation. And that's okay. That's around what the federal government does. But is that good enough to deliver goods and services to Nigerians?
So, a political system that promotes the independence of every institution to perform optimally is then highly desirable. The national and subnationals must also begin a true conversation that will guarantee the true independence of the local council and build the capacity of administration at that level, since that is where a lot of government intervention will be able to answer the question of developments that directly affect the people's daily lives. If the right policies are formulated in this direction, the entire country may just begin to see some uptick in the lives and livelihoods of Nigerians, especially when there is more money to disburse. Tokumbo Oyetunji, Arise News, Lagos.